I'm glad you asked. My name is Bianca Ariel, business coach and co-owner of Black and Influential Apparel.
Hey guys, I'm Dominique Rice, serial entrepreneur and co-owner of Black and Influential Apparel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are here in Charlotte, North Carolina. For those of y'all who watch each week, we are together. Normally we're somewhere around the world, but tonight we're here with you and we're together. We are prepping for our launch of Black and Influential Apparel. And Bianca, do you want to share with them a little bit?
Yeah, so for Black and Influential, we actually tell the inspiring stories of our customers using our Black and Influential apparel. So we're really excited to roll that out next week.
Yeah, so this week we were shooting video footage of amazing entrepreneurs all around Charlotte to tell their stories about what inspired them and what Black and Influential means to them. So stay tuned for that. We'll be sharing more next week. So other than Black and Influential things, talk to us about what we're chatting about this week.
Yes, I love how you never know. and I never know.
What the hell is going on?
I never know until like something kind of just comes to me and I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about it tonight on the show. So with us launching Black and Influential, you know, one of the terms that comes to mind when I think about Black and Influential is success. And success is whatever that means to you. Okay. And as two historically successful women, what is your experience with dating someone that is not necessarily matching your vibe or the space that you're in currently in your life?
Yeah. Well, you know, I definitely know dating well. This is my lane, y'all. If I wasn't a serial entrepreneur, I should be a dating coach too. Okay. So, you know, with dating, especially as a Black woman, I do not interracial date and I date men.
Okay.
And so I believe in dating men who are equally yoked as me, you know? And so I think it's hard to date men who aren't nearly as successful as you. So not because, I'm a gold digger, or I'm this or I'm that, but you know, at the end of the day, like if you're not doing what I'm doing, how is this going to work? You know, can a man be with a woman who's more successful than them? And I personally don't think so. I don't think that it's made for me or anyone. So it's hard. It's really, really hard, especially as a Black woman that only dates Black men. So, and I don't really date athletes or rappers yet, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, I do love Yo Gotti.
Okay. So I was listening to the Roommates podcast this week, and they had a wonderful woman on there talking about, you know, the dating life and with women that are successful. And her advice was to kind of date how men date. So men don't necessarily date, and I'm a lesbian, but there's no real lesbian material that I really need to get into when in regards of dating in a professional, successful manner. So I have to kind of go to Myheterosexual podcast just to kind of get some information. And what she was describing was that she was a previous matchmaker. Okay. So typically men don't date other women based on their successes, right? They're purely physical. So it could be a woman who's a judge and she's average looking. And then it could be a young lady who's a cashier at a supermarket and she's banging. Typically the successful man is going to go towards the woman that works at the grocery store. Okay. According to her and her experience. So she advised that women not flaunt their success. And ultimately, if they're looking for a man, you know, have them fall in love for you as an individual or work on your aesthetics in order to attract what you want. And also she recommended that successful women kind of just date for love and not necessarily look for someone of their caliber, because those successful men are looking for purely someone in the physical. So gotcha. What your heterosexual experience, what do you think of that advice?
I totally agree with that. You know, like I personally, like in terms of being with a man, like I could care less about my career. Like I don't like, and I do this and I do that. Like I definitely feel like I do downplay what I do and my successes, not because I don't really care about, I personally, like I love money and money is important, but I don't care. Money's not, you know, money flows to me easily. So I don't put value on it because I always get it. You know, it just flows to me. So I don't like, oh, I did this, and I don't flaunt my accomplishments. I am a looker. I spent 3.5 hours today at the spa. That's to my face. I had facials, I had waxing, I had brows, you know, so I take a lot of time on my looks because being pretty is very important to me. Representing a man is very important to me. My family's in sports. So, growing up with sports, we had recruits over all the time. So being nice and pretty was something that I was conditioned to do. That was actually my role in my family, was to be nice and pretty, not necessarily smart or successful. So I was groomed to just be nice and pretty.
And that's a whole another conversation.
I was never expected to be like this. I was never expected to be a boss. I was never expected to be an entrepreneur. And I actually had a very close relative almost basically apologize for not pushing me. But that's a whole nother story. Dang, but I was really groomed to be smart and pretty, and that's it. So I agree 100% with that. In terms of what women look for, when I'm dating, I am not into looks. And Bianca, you can attest to this. I do not have a type. I date 23 to 63. That's my age range. Only thing, you gotta be Black. I was like, I'm just wide open, ain't I?
Yes, you are. You ain't got no type at all. So you, as an individual, as a successful woman, you are okay with dating a man that is not of your caliber. I don't really like that term, but that's what we're talking about in reference to the conversation that they had on the Roommates podcast.
I'm going on dates of men who aren't my caliber because I don't like it. I haven't met any right now that are my caliber.
So if they didn't necessarily make as much money as you did, but they treated you very well, would you be open to being in a committed relationship with them?
Yes.
Okay.
But I do want to give a disclaimer that the more reason why I'm leaning towards this is most people don't know that I've been married before. And my first husband was, once my business really took off, our relationship went south because that's not what he liked. So basically I have a hard time dating men who make less money than me because my first marriage ended because of a similar situation. So for me, it
ended because you were starting to grow your business and he couldn't handle that?
Correct.
Wow.
So that's why personally, I have a hard time with that because I've experienced a man seeing my success and then no longer being interested. So that's why I was like, it's hard for me to even say that because I totally agree. It's hard for men, especially Black men, to see a woman of that caliber. And studies show that if a woman is taking care of a man, he is substantially more likely to cheat. He doesn't feel like a man.
So then in that regard, you really necessarily need to be looking for someone that can provide for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really necessarily someone like a woman that's just a gold digger going for the man for the money. In actuality, this is something that you're going to need to strive for in order to really preserve a relationship.
I think so.
Because if you date someone that is insecure or doesn't make as much money as you, then he's going to be resentful. And ultimately what happened to your marriage is going to happen to you again.
I think so. And even little things, for instance, Bianca and I decided last minute to pick up and go to the Virgin Islands in 3 or 4 days, so a lot of people who don't have this kind of lifestyle can't understand that, so it's like a shock. It's like, oh, I got to go to work and you're going to the Virgin Islands. This is the life that I cultivated for myself, so if someone hasn't cultivated that life for themselves, that's very, very hard for them to understand. And that's, how is that going to work? Does that mean I have to dim my light to make someone else feel better? Right. I don't want to do that. So, now if there was someone who maybe made less than me, but they were flexible and they were understanding and they knew my lifestyle and they knew that I was committed to them and there was no jealousy there. And they were like, babe, rock on, I'm gonna hold it down, then I would consider it. But the likelihood of that, studies show is very slim.
Yeah, so on my behalf, I'm a lesbian, so I only date women.
That's what a lesbian is, guys.
That's what it is. I'm really not particular about the amount of money that the woman makes. I really go with how she makes me feel and her ambitions, her potential. I understand what it feels like to be in a place where you're not totally secure with your situation, or, you're still striving for more. And I always feel like if you're not growing, you're dying. So we're always going to be in a space of growth. And so wherever I meet someone, I'm okay with helping them get there, and we can actually grow together.
Yeah.
But what I've recently realized is that shit is out. So I think what I've now have to come to realize is that similarly to the situation with men that make less money than you, if I'm going to date someone of a masculine stature, they are going to have to be some sort of type of provider, or someone with the capacity to cater to a relationship. Okay. And they are going to have to equally yoke. We are going to have to be equally yoked. They're going to have to be of my caliber or above in order for us to really sustain a successful partnership. Okay. And so I'm just in the space in my life. I don't really want a girlfriend. I'm looking for a partner. And although I'm feel completely capable of growing with a certain individual, right, I believe that where I'm at in my life and all the work that it took for me to get to this place is going to be intimidating. And if someone is not prepared to really step into that light and step up to the plate, then there's no need for me to like persist and place my energy in that individual any longer. So it's for me, I got to rise on up and move on up. And, unfortunately, but fortunately, this is something that I've just had to learn, over the last couple of months. Our lifestyles can be intimidating, but the thing about it is you have to believe, like, if this is something that you want, like, you can do it. And what better place to be than around individuals that are doing what you want to do. Right. I think my sole purpose in being around a previous relationship is to see another entrepreneur thriving. I think that, to see someone really just going out and making it on their own is something that I needed to see in order to feel confident enough to leave my job. So I think that everything has a reason and a season, but like I told Dominique, I don't really want any reasons or seasons or like, this is my experience for now. I'm really looking for some solidarity. And I think that at this point, I'm only going to have to attract who I am. And that's just what it's going to have to be. I also believe that whatever you attract is what you're possessing at that time. What do you feel?
I feel that too, and I really agree. Like, that's what you're possessing. I know one thing, I'm open for some reasons and some seasons. Okay.
I've had many reasons and seasons and lessons and lessons. And
hey, got me.
So anyways, okay. So, so dating as a successful woman is definitely, a struggle that we all are going to encounter. And I think that really ultimately whatever you want to attract, you have to possess within yourself. And so I think this is why that separation happened, because, I'm just in a space where I kind of stepped out of that insecurity phase of leaving my job and becoming into an entrepreneur. And now I know exactly what I want. I know what we need to do to get there. And I'm ready to keep rising above. And, you work really hard for that. So if someone's not ready to step up to the plate, then next.
Yeah. Period. Right. So we're going to go ahead and recap today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today's show is all about, first, Black and Influential. We're here in Charlotte and we launched talking about dating and, as a successful woman, you're single, as well as a straight woman, as a lesbian woman, and what that means to us. So thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next week.
And you can follow me at Hello Bianca Ariel. You can follow her at I Am Dominique Rice, and follow Black and Influential at Shop Black and Influential on Instagram. See you next week. Bye. Bye.